Yeah, today we're at the AgroExpo grounds looking at the soybean plots here. Several FFA chapters have put in different strips of different treatments, trying to look at what kind of changes they could make to the management of soybeans to see what can maximize both profitability as well as yield. These plants look really good here today. Some of the challenges with the soybeans is that a lot of times they look really nice at this full grown stage, and it's hard to find small differences visually. So really at this point it's more of evaluating this, making sure we didn't miss big things, but really is looking forward to harvest and trying to figure out what small differences do we make by changing those management practices.
We were checking on our crops. We've done it twice already, so this is our third time, and they've definitely grown. And we were looking at the Japanese beetles and like how they're eating some, and just how like they were the plants were flowering, and how many seeds were in each pod and stuff, and how that can be affected by each time during the year of like the weather and everything else.
Today we were talking about what's happening at this stage of the plant and talking about how critical it is to the soybean yield, that we've got a lot of pod fill and development going on now, and rainfall during the month of August is really critical to soybeans. So we talked about those things and how their plots are looking pretty good here at this expo site, along with any kind of issues that we see. We see some insect feeding, some holes in the leaves that we find in some of these plants, and just talked about the threshold for some of those, that even though they don't look so good, the threshold for these is pretty high when we talk about percent defoliation.
I think they look pretty good. There might be a couple that are a little bit better, but I'd say they're doing pretty good.
Currently, the status of the soybean crop across Michigan looks pretty good. There are some problem areas, of course, lots of variability across the state this year. There were some places that got really dry for a longer period, some places that got really wet, so it's not widespread that we have perfect conditions, but the crop does look pretty good across the state. Last week, the USDA came out with an average, their guess at the average yield, and they're guessing 51 bushels per acre. That'll be a record in the state of Michigan. Seems a little bit optimistic to some people that will reach that, but it does still point to we've got a good looking soybean crop across the state. So this year the soybean yield contest has been changed up a little bit. We've got some more seed company support than we've had in the past, and that has kind of led us to more entries than we've had in the past. So things look really strong. I think that's an indication of some growers being pretty confident in how their soybean looks, how the soybean crop looks at this time, and pretty hopeful for at least a field or two per grower that may be in the running for a good competition for highest yield.
I just think this is a really great experience that most kids don't get to do, and this is more hands-on, where a lot of stuff is more like just learning facts and okay, this is what happens, where with this, like, you get to be right here with the crop and really affecting everything.